Hello and welcome. You're watching Worldview with me, Gaurie Dwivedi. Mondays and Fridays, 9 p.m. I talk about global events, geopolitical equations, and their New Delhi impact, or how New Delhi stands to align or create its own space in the larger geopolitical space. Today, I talk about not just the American elections, but what happens to the South China Sea in the event that Trump is not voted to power. As things stand right now, he is trailing by 14%. That's a very large gap, given that it's just the last 30 days, less than 30 days actually, for the most important election in the world. He is also battling coronavirus, one of the biggest reasons why he is trailing in the first place, given that his mishandling of the pandemic has been a matter of huge disappointment and anger amongst American voters. Having said that, if Joe Biden comes to power, is he going to suddenly do a U-turn or suddenly turn soft on China? I don't think so. And there are several reasons why I feel so. First and foremost is the fact that there is now a bipartisan agreement in Congress, US Congress, that both Democrats and Republicans now agree that China policy of America, especially in the last 30 years, maybe since George Bush Sr.'s time, has been very, very flexible and has almost allowed China to grow substantially at the cost of American interests. And that can be on several fronts. Just take WTO, for instance. China continues to violate WTO rules, except that it's grown 8 times since it joined the WTO. So who stood to really gain from this alliance? Beijing, much more than Washington. Of course, it's been 19 years since China joined WTO. Anyways, coming back to the Spratly Islands, the South China Sea dispute, I feel that even if Joe Biden comes to power, he is not going to be any less shrill in his assessment or in his policy towards China when it comes to the Spratly Islands and the militarization of these. 3 out of 7 of those islands have been fully militarized by China since 2016 onwards. So the dispute is not new. What is new is the shrill pitch that America has taken. And now, of course, you have US interests being aligned by UK, Germany also joining in. In the last couple of days, we've had Vietnam, Cambodia, who are all stakeholders, by the way, in this entire dispute, also now coming out and making their entire view very public, which till now they had not done so, because obviously there is an asymmetry in equations between Beijing's military power and a Vietnam military power in the region. Having said that, Joe Biden has a lot riding on the table for him to suddenly recede space and grant more space to China. He is likely to continue to be as relentless as Trump has been in the last 1 year of his presidency. I hope so. The world hopes so too as well. And the other reason is that there are significant military and American interests in the region. They have treaty partners, whether it is Philippines, whether it is Tokyo, and Taiwan as well. The Taiwan Representative Act is 40 years old, by which America is duty bound, as per the act, to provide arms to Taiwan. During the Obama years, in fact, more during the Bill Clinton years, there was a certain reluctance on part of American establishment to provide better equipment and arms to Taiwan. That was done away with during the Trump years. In fact, this year alone, F-16s have been provided to Taiwan to ensure that it is able to defend itself. That kind of policy is likely to continue. While Biden may go back on a lot of issues that Democrats and Republicans don't agree with, I think China is not going to be one of them. And that is where I would like to allay some fears that maybe in the nitty-gritties of how the policy shapes out, there may be differences. But on the broader alignment, China policy of America has now gone through a tectonic shift. The Bill Clinton era and the Barack Obama years and even the George Bush years are now behind. And even if Biden comes to power, I think they're going to continue to press Beijing on what they feel are, in fact, what it has said is reckless, provocative militarization of disputed outposts. I think that policy, perception, and assessment is going to continue. Thanks much for watching this edition of Worldview.